Good morning and good afternoon to everyone joining us here on the Tech Canada Daily Insights webinar series. My name is Ruth Ann and I am your moderator from Tech Canada. I am very happy that you have joined in on this particular session and want to draw your attention to some of the presenters that we have up and coming. You will see that we are having a bit of a taper down as we move into the summer months. We are looking at doing them on Thursdays going forward. After the July timeframe. But coming up next week, we have Neil Smith. Now, Neil Smith is an individual who's been working on psychological and organizational management in agriculture. He has a various degree of expertise that he's going to share with us about innovation in the field of agriculture, which for many of you might be a little bit new, but if you are looking for startup company information or knowledge on what is current in terms of what used to be just the dirt farmer aspect, we're now looking at many innovations in that area. So I would encourage you to join in. On the Thursday, we are going to have Jenny Krishnamurthy, who is the founder of Logistyle. He's going to be going through some excellent ideas about scaling up after you have looked at culture, what's next for your future in your particular company. So I hope that you can join us on those days as well. If you would like to engage with our speaker today, I would ask you to please put your comments and questions into the question box. We will have some time, probably in the middle of the presentation, to engage with our speaker. Our speaker today is Jerome Le Dall. He is an entrepreneur helping other entrepreneurs both in Europe and here in North America grow their international businesses. He graduated from one of the top French business schools and has been working his whole career in information technology. In the consulting area with Gemini and in software with SAS Institute and CA Technologies. So we have someone who is well integrated into technology, but he also worked with Cisco and took care of a $600 million partner in their European level. So with his experience ranging from Singapore through to Malaysia, India, and throughout Europe, he is here to share with us some of his expertise about selling virtually, which truly is going to be our new way forward. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Jerome Le Dall. Welcome, Jerome.
Thank you very much, Rustan. Very appreciated your time and this invitation. So I'm very pleased to be with you today. Do you hear me well?
We're all doing well.
Wonderful. So let's get starting then, okay? So the presentation has already been done. So I'm going to speak in English today. As you can understand, with my very strong French accent, I'm bilingual, but more French than English, I would say. So don't hesitate if at one point you don't understand something that I tell, to raise the hand or say, we haven't got what you just said, Jerome. So again, very pleased to be with you today. Today I'm going to discuss about, this video selling activity, which is right now what we can call the new normal. Fact is that, about the 3 past months, we have all been a lot in different web conferences, doing that internally for internal meetings, but also for, meeting with clients and everyone. This is the new normal. Of course, things are going to ease, but we can bet that, video conference and video selling is going to last for a long time. And I think it's going to be even more and more, what we are going to do in the coming months and years with our clients. And today, indeed, I'm going to really discuss this new normal, because it means that when it comes to selling, we need to revisit, even maybe reinvent the way we are selling to our clients. And that's, something that is very important, because we have seen, with what we have done in the past 3 months, that things are okay when it comes to an internal meeting, but not that good when it comes to discussing with a client where we need to impress the client and make the sale. All right. So that's where we are right now. So let's first discuss about the impact on selling, I would say. First, the good, yes, because there is a good thing with these video selling activities. It means that we are going to have less commute. And then, of course, we are going to have more time, so which is very good. It means that we have more time to take care of our clients and more time to really, selling, closing deals. So which is good, instead of spending one full day to go to Calgary or wherever, and then leaving, the clients behind, we can really enough take more time, get more clients, more interactions, and that's very, very good at the end of the day. And also the other good thing with these video selling activities is that it helps us to lower the costs. Flights, taxi, everything that costs a lot of money. And when we can do that just with a remote connection like that, I mean, the costs are down big time. So that's also part of the good things we see with selling by video. That being said, there are not only good things. The bad is the fact that, yes, the truth is that we have less impact. When we are on a conference call like that, it's good, but we all know that human-to-human interaction is very important, and we get more impact when we are in face or in front of someone. The bad impact as well is the less trust, because for sure, as you need to trust someone when you sell and when you buy, I would say, and for that you have different signals that you need to trust, to trust the person you have in front of you. And when it's just a small window, a specific, I would say, connection, and it's not that good, to really get this trust from clients. That's a challenge, I would say. And the third challenge is the less control. Yes, we need to control. When we have a sales meeting with a client, we need to control the meeting. Video conference, for different reasons, can really decrease this control that we have in a meeting, and that can, at the end of the day, have a bad impact on how we sell to the clients. The last impacts, and the ugly part, I would say, is that we are in unknown territories. It's one way to sell a solution or product or service, I don't know, $2,000, $5,000, $20,000. That can be over the phone. Depending on the business, that's okay. But when it comes to 1 million, more than multi-million dollars deals, to do that over the phone, I mean, even myself, I have been doing that for something like 15, 20 years. When it comes to a very large deal, it's not that easy. And that's something where, again, we are going to discover and have to invent the way we can really interact with clients so we can sign this kind of deals. And this is that leads me to the old compared to new way of selling. As I said at the beginning, we need to reinvent different techniques and different approaches to really be more impactful and more powerful when we discuss with clients, and to be in a position where we can sign multi-million-dollar deals. That's I mean, the challenge. But this is a cool challenge, but it is still a challenge, and we are just at the beginning of that challenge, I would say. Any question maybe from the audience about that or not?
No, I think they're waiting for you to open up the door to what some of these new techniques are going to be.
Wonderful. So let's go inside. So the sales process. Yes, the process is in sales absolutely critical, right? This is the typical sales process that we can see. Prospection, qualification, presentation, demonstration. You do the offer and then you close the deal. Typical sales process. And what we see is the fact that there is one piece which is where the video conference call will be absolutely critical. And right now we see the contraction, of two of these phases into one single phase, meaning the qualification and the presentation are linked into one single meeting. And this is why I have invented or created, I would say, a process that needs to be followed, to really streamline well these kind of meetings. It's very, very important. And the timing is very important. What I have seen in the past, for instance, is the fact that many salespeople don't ask questions. So when you are face-to-face with a client, they don't ask a lot of questions. But when it comes to be in a video conference, they ask even less questions. And for me, questions is the critical part of any sales process. And of course, the video conference calls make things more difficult maybe to ask questions, but it's a place where that needs to be in a call. So when we have 1 hour time frame, and during this 1 hour time frame, we have to be very careful. What happens is sometimes some engineers or some pre-sales consultants, they have to present something, and they are going to take maybe more than 20 minutes to do that. They are going to do that over 30, 40, 1 hour, even more than 1 hour. And that is very dangerous somewhere. We have to be very careful to really keep this window of presenting or demonstrating in something between 20 to 30 minutes. That's very important. So you can keep 10 minutes to really ask the right questions. And I will send you this, you can access this document afterward if you wish. But the questions need to be really understanding the pains, the challenges, the needs of the clients. And that's you cannot do anything if you don't ask the questions at the beginning. After that, you present and you demonstrate, and I will give you more details about that just after. But of course, you have to be very careful in how you present something, because no way you can really go into all the details about your product, your service, your solution. It's not possible. Okay, so you need to give an overview of what it is, so that people can just understand, you know, the big, the main pillars, I would say, and go from there. But you have to script. When I did some co-ops a long time ago at Microsoft, for instance, and at Microsoft, you have a complete script on how you present something, detailed script. So you need to script it and to make sure that this presentation is well designed and can stay into this 20 or 30 minutes time frame. The last point is the action plan, and that's also very, very important. Why? Because when you are in a conference call, the client has maybe set up 1 hour in his calendar. You are not face-to-face with him. So when you are face-to-face, sometimes you can get maybe 10, 20, 30 more minutes. When you are in a conference call, that's not the case. Most of the time, people sometimes are, you know, back-to-back with different meetings. So when they have to stop, they stop, all right? And if you have just 1 minute left to prepare to position, you know, the next actions, then it's too late. You know, you need to at least have 10 minutes to really discuss with the client about the next actions. And as we know, in selling, you know, the action steps is absolutely key. You know, if there is no actions, for me, there is no meeting. The meeting has been useless. If a client is interested, he wants to do something different or something after the call. And during a conference call, you need to really spend at least 10 minutes discussing the next action with the client. I will just finish. Sorry for that. I forgot about the introduction. The introduction also is something which is, it's not very, very important, but still, you need to, before the call, if you are different stakeholders, different employees, you know, in the call, to make sure that someone is going to present you and that this flow is going to be well designed, so that it doesn't take too much time to do, and that you know, at the end of the day, you are quickly into the questions and the interaction with the clients. So this process, again, very important that you keep that in mind and that you can really have this phase in place when you do a video conference call. So now let's deep dive into more techniques, I would say. All right, so we have the process in one hand. Now we go into the different techniques. So video conference call is like being on the stage. You know, it's really very close. So maybe there are some special. I know that in the tech ecosystem, there are very good consultants in video and this kind of stuff. The first thing to really take care of is the ambient noise. We know, we have seen, you have seen, by the way, who have seen, you know, some calls where you have the kids on the one hand, the dogs barking, sometimes the wife, you know, chasing the kids, and sometimes everything at the same time. Who has that in his experience?
I know I can speak to that. I have 2 four-legged floor managers that if something goes by my door, I have to watch them. And yes, we're having quite a few people saying, yes, sometimes it is challenging to control the noise in your home or video environment.
Yes, it's challenging, and yeah, we do what we can do. But when it comes to selling, again, you have to be very careful with that. If you have a dog barking all the time, I mean, it's not good for the interaction for sure. So this ambient noise is something that you need to really take care of. And sometimes even, you know, going into your car is sometimes better, because you know that in your car you will have less noise than in your home. So something to consider at the end of the day. Lighting is also a very important thing, because lighting is, you need to be seen. Sometimes, for instance, some people position themselves just in front of a window, and there is a camera, there is them, and there is the window behind. So you don't see them, they are dark. So that's something, you know, when you do photography or video filming people, you know that. But when you are not an expert there, you have to be careful, because if people don't see you, then the trust cannot be there as well. So lighting is a key point. Sometimes you can buy simple lights or professional lights, whatever, but you need to be seen and well seen by the clients. Leads me to the background. Background is, so you see here today, I have created a small background very quickly, you know, with some flowers or some plants. But the background is important. If you see that the background is your bed, you know, you have all your I don't know, your shoes somewhere, it's messy. I mean, it's not good for the video call. And over the past 3 months, I have discovered the interiors of so many people. So that's good, but at the end of the day, you have to be careful, because this is also the image that you have that you give from your company to the clients. So if the background is messy, if the background is a little bit so-so, that's not very good as well. And the foreground is also critical. The foreground is you, it's me. You know, when you are in front of your camera, you have to be careful on where you are positioning yourself. Sometimes some people, you just see their front, you just see the neck. You sometimes they are too close to the camera. So if you are too close to the camera, how can you be very well seen? So you have to be careful on where you position yourself. You can be in the center of the camera. You can be on the left, for instance, you know, in one place on the left of your screen, or right, whatever. But you need to be in a position where it's interesting for the people to watch you, and be careful, because, for instance, when I see the camera here, I need to watch the camera, not so much the screen, because if you watch the camera, then people feel that you are watching them in the eyes, and that's quite critical as well. So be careful about where you position yourself, what you are watching in your camera, so that you create more impact to the clients.
Jerome,
any question?
I was going to say too that it's a good knowledge of what the platform that you're going to be using, because if you have Zoom, you can adjust the background and you can do some of these things. This particular platform with GoToWebinar, you are not able to create a virtual background. So know that as well.
Yeah, that's I have one slide at the end, you know, about the different platforms. Zoom is one. Zoom is very popular. This background, it's not black and white for me. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not that good. Why? Because it creates a weird effect sometimes with people. When you have when you are using this feature from Zoom, ideally you should have a green background behind you, so that, you know, it's you don't feel strange. You know, sometimes one part of your body is disappearing with that, so it's a bit weird from my point of view. Sometimes it's weird, but still it's better than having, you know, your bed or your chairs, your personal stuff behind. Still better than that, to be honest with you. So it's good if it's well organized and well done, I would say. So just be careful with what it gives at the end of the day. Is it all right? We can continue?
Continuing.
Okay, voice. Someone told me, he was in the film industry, that the voice in a movie is the most important aspect of a movie, which was surprising, because I see, no, this is the scene and the people moving and the beauty of the image. And he said, no. If the sound is bad, if the voice is not well heard, the movie is going to be a nightmare. And this is quite interesting. And it is the same here. You know what? When we are discussing with clients, if they have hard time to hear you, if they see a lot of ambient noise, they don't really hear what you say. And if, like me, for instance, today I'm speaking, you know, in English, even if I'm French, if you have the bad, you know, interaction or bad connection and so on, so that if you say, oh, I don't really understand what he says, and that's not very good when it comes to selling your solution and your services and your products. So be very careful. Get a small microphone, a good microphone. Be careful that your computer has a good microphone somewhere, because you have computers which are not on the same level for that. And make sure that you are well heard. So ask even questions about, do you understand me today? Is it clear? Can we continue with that? These kind of things seems to be, again, normal, or I would say standard, but it's very, very, very important. Less signals, yes, that's key as well. When you are face to face, we can watch the body language, we can hear the voice, we can see the office, we can, many signals are coming to us, so we get a better understanding of who we have in front of us, and how we can sell at the end of the day. We understand the culture, we understand the mindset, we understand, you know, how they work, so many things. If they are kids, no kids. When you are with a video conference, that you don't have. You have just limited information. So some information about the body language, you hear the voice, so you can get something. You can see some reaction of other stakeholders, but even sometimes, you know, they are in a very small window, so you don't see them at all. And in fact, most of your sensors are muted, so it's very challenging for that. So be careful when there is a meeting like that. You need to get as much information as you can, but you're going to have a limitation for that. That's something you need to understand, and this is why also these video conference activities needs to be worked, and you need to progress on that. Active listening, again, this is a key in selling. active listening. For me, it's like peak performance. When I do a sales call, when I have a sales meeting with my clients, I can tell you that when I go out of these meetings, I'm completely exhausted because for 1 hour, I was super concentrated on what people are saying and asking the right questions, trying to really understand, asking maybe 6-7 times the why to really understand what people need and what is behind their needs. And active listening is absolutely key. And in video conference calls, sorry, I'm going to speak slower. That's also very important to do. So be careful with that. That's something that you need to really work. And sometimes the sound of the client is not that good. This connection is not good, so you don't hear very well. But you need to be extremely concentrated and focused so you can hear and understand what the client needs. Presentation, as I said, maybe 10 minutes to 20 minutes, 30 minutes maximum. I'm not a very big fan of long presentations. And for me, presentation is something sometimes that even in face-to-face that needs to be revisited and redesigned. Why? Because a presentation, so it's like a full story, but I'm not going to deep dive too much into that. But a presentation, from my point of view, needs to be very simple, very visual, so that people, if they see you on their cell phone, on their computer, or even with a bad screen, they can quickly see what you mean and what you have in mind. If you have a slide deck with too much text, too many bullet points, and it's very weird, very hard to follow, people will get away of that, and you won't even see that. But sometimes their attention is decreasing very, very quickly. So be extra careful with the presentations. And in video conference calls, you need to completely sometimes review the way you do presentations completely. And show your energy. So I have a standing guide for that because that's a trick that I can give you today. Most of the time we do conference calls seated. Okay, so we are behind our desk and we do the conference calls. A good thing to do is to just stand up, as I'm here today, because the fact that you are standing, you have more energy, and you can move yourself, and then you provide this energy to your clients. In selling, energy is king. It's sharing this energy. For me, when I go out of a client meeting, of course I am exhausted, but I have a lot of energy, and it's very energy. A meeting with a client is energizing as well. So this is this sharing of energy, which is very important. And with video conference calls, this energy has to go through. So standing up, like here, for instance, is a good way to get this energy.
Jerome, while you're on that, the very important aspect of actually seeing your hands and utilizing your hands and body language. Can you talk a little bit about that? I know that there is some psychology behind that when people see your hands and you use them properly, you actually can convey a lot of sort of body language that will create trust and honesty.
Yeah, the hands are something you can see when you are in face-to-face. When you are doing a video conference, it's hard to see the hands. Maybe here you can see my hands, and when you are standing, then you can see more of your body somewhere, so that's good. What is absolutely, I think, key is the eye contact, is the fact that you keep the attention of someone and that you stay in control of the meeting. And the hands is something where you can see the openness of someone. So for instance, when I speak like that, I show you openness, okay? And this is felt like that by the clients. If you are seated and you are like that, it means that you are very close and that you are not very okay with what is said. So there is a full theory regarding, the body language, which is very interesting, by the way, and coming from the US at the beginning, with psychologists who have really analyzed, the way you move yourself, even the way you put your legs, and if you cross your legs or not. And the hands can be a good sign. Yes, you can see if someone is very stressed. If someone moves their hands all the time, it means that he's stressed, maybe not very comfortable. But everything can give you signals. Even the eyes, the way sometimes you see people like that, thinking, trying to imagine something. Some people sometimes say, no, you see on their face that they don't really agree with you. So there are plenty of signals that you can really get. So you can say, hold on a minute, let's take a step back and let's try to come back, maybe revisit something, or is there something you don't understand? Is there something you disagree with? This kind of feedback that can give you some sense of what you should do next. okay for that, or I continue?
No, that's great. Thank you very much for that.
So let's speak about the infrastructure. Yes, so as I said, voice is very important. Interaction are very important, and everything comes at the beginning with a good connection. It's quite easy to say, but it's very, very key. So for instance, having a fiber connection at home, and even I have seen some employers, when I was at Cisco, for instance, Cisco was paying my internet connection so they can be sure that I have a good connection at home. So if you have a fiber connection, then you can be sure that the interaction that you are going to have is going to be quite good, and it's not very expensive, but still that's going to have a big impact on your interaction with clients. After that, yes, so sorry, yes, I think I have maybe forgotten one slide, but whatever. A good microphone and camera. So sometimes you can even use professional microphone to really do your presentation. So, and the camera, you have some external camera that can also be used, to have these good voice and a good interaction with your clients. Something to think about. Maybe of course, most of people who are going to use their computers and their microphone and video of their computers, as I'm doing today. Still, you can invest a little bit in some, components like a good microphone. It's not very expensive and can really completely improve the way you interact with your clients. And the video conference tools, yes, that's a big word right now, because a lot of companies have been very successful so far, and more companies, for sure, we are going to go into this field because it's booming right now. Zoom is a very popular tool that has been very popular, especially during this COVID-19 period. It's a very reliable tool, even if it's a free tool, so which can be good as well. But there are also cons with Zoom, and the fact that if you just use Zoom, it's hard to, for instance, invite someone directly into the call. So if you want to invite someone to connect just by their phone, not using an internet link, Zoom, it's hard to do it, and you cannot do it. You need to use RingCentral, which is one example. RingCentral, in fact, is using Zoom for the web conference, but provides all the telephony features, meaning that if you just want to join a call with your phone, or if, for instance, for any reason, your internet connection is not that good, you need to join by phone so that you can have a good sound, then RingCentral helps you to do that. And that's the great thing about RingCentral. So that's one solution. The other solution is Cisco WebEx, very popular one as well, very reliable, a lot very used in the corporate world. So big companies, large companies are using WebEx many times. So still a very valid solution from my point of view, and you can share, you can do whatever you want with WebEx. So that's a very good solution. And the last one is GoToMeeting, which is my favorite, to be honest with you. I know that Tech Canada is using this one, so that's great. It's very easy to use, very reliable. You have all the key features there, and it's really enable you to invite people to join by phone, so you can directly call your client. Sometimes when you set up a meeting, the client doesn't join because he has forgotten or whatever. You can directly call your client from the solution on his phone and say, hey, by the way, we're on the call. Can you join right now? Yes, I can join. And boom, you can get this interaction and the meeting is not lost. So these three solutions, very valid, very powerful, and I really recommend that you use this one if you want to have very good interaction with your client. The average for me is Google Hangouts and Microsoft Teams. Of course, they are very well known, Google, Microsoft, all of us may use this solution. Most of people who have Office 365 can access Microsoft Teams, Google, same thing. So it's a very popular one. So far, I don't think that they are the best, to be honest with you. It's when it comes to inviting clients, it's not that great. When it comes to, for instance, you don't have any way to get to call your clients directly from the solution. It's so-so, but you have to think about that. I don't really recommend these solutions anyway, but you can still use them, of course. And I think this is the end of my presentation. Rosan, sorry, I've been very quick, but any question at this point of time?
No, but I would like to say, are there other techniques? I know when you had that very detailed spreadsheet in terms of some of the stages of the selling, what would you go into? I know you said that they compacted a couple of aspects, and could you just kind of go back to that and just talk about what's different about the sales presentation now? Particularly, yes, qualification and presentation. You said those kind of were grouped together. Could you just kind of touch base on a couple of those points again for us?
Sure. So in the past, in the traditional way, what you do is that when you set up a meeting with a client, you set up a discovery meeting. This discovery meeting is a place where the goal is not so much to go too much in details in the solution or the product or the service, but more to really understand the needs of the client. And that's a key and the first step in the sales process that is absolutely necessary. If you don't have any clue on what the client is looking for, if you don't really understand what are their pains and their challenges, you can present whatever you want. You may very fall apart of that. So that's and then when you have this clear view of the needs and the client agree that you may have something that is interesting for him, then you moved in the past to a second stage where, for instance, you organize a specific demonstration, presentation for the client based on his needs. And that was most of the time a second meeting that you get with your client. Could be a presentation, could be a demonstration, both ways. And then you had different other meetings after that. Right now, with a conference call, over the past months, I would say, and years, more and more clients are just expecting you to do the qualification and presentation demonstration in one single meeting, which is good, but it's also a challenge because it means that you need to very quickly get what the clients are looking for. And you have to be very careful because, again, for me, qualification is a key thing to do. So it means that when you are first calling your clients or before the meeting, you need to get some ideas about where is his interest and what he's looking for. So you may, even by call before, try to get more details and get more understanding about what he needs. But when you are in this call, then you have a phase where you need to demonstrate something and still continue and really get this time to qualify the real needs of your clients. So this is the challenge that you have with video conference. And it's okay. I mean, it's just that if you have the right pace in the meeting, then everything goes well. So yes, qualification, this is a questioning side. So if you want to question clients, it's like it's an art. It's a science and it's an art. I can write one complete book about how to question a client. The worst thing to do is not to ask no questions. And some salespeople, sometimes they ask maybe 1, 2, 3 questions. Most of the time, open-ended questions like how many machines do you have, how many computers do you use, whatever. So these questions are not very, for me, qualification questions. It's just to get some details, but that's it. The qualification phase is where you are asking questions to really try to understand, what is the environment of the client, what his peers are doing, what is the need exactly? Is it something that this client is managing himself? Is there a team associated to this project? Who is the decision maker? Who is the influencer? What is the team doing there? Who decides at the end of the day? And then really trying to understand, if it's a key project, if it's so-so, if it's just a nice to have project, is it something for this year, something for next year? All these questions that are absolutely necessary for you to have a good demonstration behind. And the worst to do is to ask questions like a questionnaire. So, okay, question number 1, question number 2. So people say, okay, who is this guy? Is it a survey that they are doing? That is very, very bad to do. So the questioning phase is a place where you understand and your trust is going to grow because the client will see that you are smart, that you know your topic, that you are a real expert, and that you understand what are his needs. So the questions you ask sometimes are more important than the presentation you do. The question you ask are more important than the presentation you do, because asking the right question means that you know what you are talking about and that you care about your client, you care about his needs, and that you know that you are professional speaking to a professional. So this is very good to raise the trust of your client. So questioning, if you're not very familiar with that, I think that the best thing to do is to role play that as much as you can. And when it comes to video conference, I think it's sometimes good to have a piece of paper where you write a few questions, just at least to start, and then practice, because in sales we have to practice a lot. But the questioning were very key. Yeah.
Thank you. On that same note, and sort of moving into it, Andre has asked a question about customer engagement. How do you gauge how involved your customer is with your presentation? What are some of the ways, and I think questioning might be one of them, but are there other methods for testing customer engagement during a video call?
Yeah, it's indeed, I think the getting a lot of feedback is very key. The worst is when you do a full demonstration of something and that you at the very last minute say, okay, are you interested? You need to ask that every, I don't know, 5 minutes, for instance. So say, okay, are you with me? Do you understand? Do you get the idea? Or I don't know, what do you think about that? Really getting as many feedbacks as possible, so you can make sure that the client is still with you, understand what you said, and sometimes it's even good to just maybe emphasize on one point. If there is someone presenting and you are the salesperson, for instance, you say yes, just to give you more flavors or more colors about what John just said, for instance, just to give you how it can be used, a kind of an example of the usage, client experience, for instance, any kind of additional information that is going to give more colors to what the presenter or the consultant is doing. And the last point is that at the end of the meeting, what is very important is just to summarize everything that has been done. So we agree that your needs are this and this and this. You told us that you're really looking for this and this and this. During the presentation, you have seen that this feature, this product, this service is something that is really what you are looking for. So then what I suggest, we can go to maybe I can do a presentation. Do you agree with that? And you can gauge here if the client is with you or not with you. And this is why the next steps is absolutely critical. You need to summarize everything that you said before to go to the next phase with your client. The next phase can be, I want to present you my boss, for instance, because I am here, but my boss is the decision maker. I'm going to introduce you to my decision maker. Or it can be, yes, I need to have a proposal from you. The next step for you is to send me a proposal so I can decide. Or whatever. It can be another presentation. It can be a test of the solution. It can be so many things. But if there are no action plan behind, the meeting was useless.
Thank you. Patrick has put a question in that I think is very, very relevant to this. Is there or are there any studies that show when it might be beneficial to, the client has said they just want to have a phone call. When would you want to push them to a video conference and why?
I think that if the client wants to have a phone call, there are two reasons. First reason, maybe he's not that interested or he just wants to see. He's not very sure that what you sell is something that can be interesting for him. The second reason is that for any kind of reason, he's maybe traveling or whatever and cannot really take video conference is a challenge for him. Or he's working from home, doesn't really want to do that from home. That can be different reasons like that. Most of the time, when we have a platform like Zoom or GoToMeeting and so on, we set up the meeting and the client can join by phone. And during the meeting, we can even ask, okay, by the way, we can show you 1 or 2 slides going to express more better what we do. And then say, can you just log in or can you open are you in front of your PC? And then you have different tricks, different bridges, to get him back on the video conference. But that's okay. If a client just say, okay, I just need to have a quick phone call. So then you can do a quick phone call with the client, quickly describe what you do and say, you know what, now what I would like to do with you, Mr. Client, is to spend maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes of your time to really give you more flavors of more details about what we do. Because of our phone call, it's maybe different. If we do a video conference, I can show you exactly how it works. I can give you a quick demonstration so you will see what it is. So then it's an incentive for him to say, yeah, okay, why not? Let's move on. So if he asks you again, and I'm going to conclude there, is if he asks you this meeting, is because maybe he's not convinced or he doesn't really know, he's not sure. He's doesn't trust you because he doesn't know you yet. So giving him a quick call, maybe say, you know what, yes, this is what we do, and I'm really interested for what are your needs, quick qualification, and then jump from there to say, you know what, now, Mr. Client, let's do maybe 40 minutes presentation to you. we can plan that next week, for instance, and you can really see what it is. Then, you know, he should be keen to go to the next phase. Or if he's not interested, he's not interested.
So would you say that choosing a platform can be helpful in terms of what it is that you're going to share, whether it be content like a PowerPoint or a video demonstration or other types of things? So you had mentioned that Microsoft Teams was not so good. Is that the reason why you might choose one platform over another?
Yes, because you know, we are all interacting with a lot of people and different solutions. We see different solutions. When I see people coming back to me with Teams, for instance, and I have Teams, so I am a Microsoft user. I have Teams. I can invite my clients with Teams. But I know that with Teams, for instance, the quality of the video is quite good. The interaction most of the time is good, okay? But when it comes to sharing documents, it depends on which computer you are using, because sometimes you need to upload the document or you need to open the access to your document. For instance, I'm using a Mac, and with a Mac, it's a nightmare. You need to open it. Every time I'm trying to do that, it's always a nightmare. So I'm losing potentially many minutes in front of my client to do that. Not something that I want. I want to be sharp when the meeting starts. I want everything to be working properly. So that's why, you know, and again, with Teams, I cannot invite someone on the fly. It's not possible to do it. If I want to call someone directly from the tool, you cannot do it. So I think that again, if you see Zoom, RingCentral using Zoom, GoToMeeting or WebEx, this solution, you need to get really well trained on how to use this solution. So really spending some time to use it, to practice it with your colleagues, to make sure that you master the tool. You can do everything you want. There is no constraint somewhere with work. You have less constraints interacting with your clients. And these are very powerful solutions. You can even record a meeting if you wish. If you say, okay, Mr. Client, can I record this meeting because I need to really get what you are going to tell me? Boom, you can record it. It's you know that it's going to be stored, recorded, and that you can access the file very quickly behind. These solutions are extremely easy to use. And there is nothing worse than starting a meeting with a client, having a bad connection because the solution is not that good, having a bad video like Skype, for instance. Skype, I would say 60–70% of the time when I use Skype with clients, I don't know why it's never working properly. So I'm losing a lot of minutes, you know, with my clients just for sharing that. And when I say a lot of time, it can be sometimes 20–30 minutes. Sometimes it's crazy, you know. So you have to be very careful with that. And I will finish with one point. Be careful as well with the firewalls of your clients, because some solutions don't accept some video conference platforms. So be careful. There are no rules there, but Zoom, for instance, sometimes are rejected with firewalls, because at the beginning, Zooms had very weird security things, and firewalls were just removing Zoom from their agreement. WebEx, GoToMeeting, I don't see any challenge using this solution. So most of the time, using these two solutions, you are good to go. But if the solution is removed from the firewall, you don't get any meetings. So you are just you can only call by phone. That's the only thing you can do. So you have to be careful with that.
Good. A few people have asked about analytics and so forth, and I think I can talk a little bit here, but you might be able to add in, is when you use a system like this GoToWebinars, I have analytics afterward that I can see who is on the call. There are certain levels of engagement that are provided to me. If somebody drops off, I know when they have dropped off as well. So that can be good information when you're looking at a broader perspective. But something else that you alluded to as well is that with these systems, they provide a hot link, so they don't have to have it uploaded onto their computer to be able to access it for the meeting. So that does make it a little bit simpler. To finish off with us, Jerome, could you share a personal story of a virtual contact win? Something, and you know, if you're comfortable to share the company, then that would be good. If not, you know, sort of give us a story, a win story of a large virtual sales win to end off this presentation.
No, it's hard for me to give you some names of stories like that, but just last week, for instance, I signed a new deal with a company based in France. They want us to help them to go in Africa. So we are here in North America, but this company wanted to use our international expertise to help them to go to Africa in different countries in Africa. and all the interactions have been done through conference calls and video conference. So yes, it's working. I mean, so this company is a software company. They are based in Paris. They do a solution for the pharmaceutical industry, and we are now in business with them. So it's a one-year contract to help them to sign a big agreement with a major pharmaceutical company based in France and also in Africa to sell their solution in Africa. So it's working. I mean, and to be honest with you, Rothan, we have been doing that for 3-4 years now. So when I joined Cisco, it was in 2005. Since 2005, I have been using, teleconference, video conference applications, to interact with clients. And Cisco is very, very, very well advanced into. They had what they call the telepresence room. So it's big rooms with big screens, very high-end solutions that cost a lot of money anyway. But just to give you a feeling that you have very interesting interactions with this solution. And even in Canada, and in the US, because you have cities which are so distant from one or the other, you are used here to use video conference. So it's coming quicker, I think, that what has been seen in France, where, for instance, the cities are very close, so you don't have to use this system. So there is kind of an acceptance in North America of these tools. But with the COVID-19, now we are in a phase where it's going to be even deeper than that. And it proves that we can do business using this solution. Yes.
And I thank you. Jerome, I'm going to get you to go to the slide that might have your contact information, because what I want all of our viewers to know is that this has been recorded. Jerome is a Tech Canada speaker. So for those of you who are members or chairs, Jerome can be brought in to speak directly to your tech group. But if you are not a member of tech, I have Jerome's information there and his company. So with that, Jerome, I would just like to thank you for joining us today. And for those of you that wish to contact him, any notes there for them, Jerome?
But yes, they can send me an email to Jerome, Jerome @infinitegrowth.co, and feel free to reach me or directly with LinkedIn. You contact me with LinkedIn on my LinkedIn page, and we can interact from there. Very easy.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The recording will be available on our Tech Canada website under the COVID-19 Insights tab. I will ask Jerome as well to provide some of the collateral information that he put into his presentation so that you can look again at the sales cycle and some of the changes that you should be initiating, and questioning being the number one. So thank you again to everyone who logged in, and I hope everyone has a good what's left of our week going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.